across the open web. So I think my talk today would be, first of all, very well timed after a panel about going beyond the ads. But really what we try to do at Quantcast is try to find the right people at the right time that will engage with the amazing content that you're putting out there and essentially measure how that engagement results into a customer acquisition. I want to start today with a little bit of a story. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. She's turning 2. I can see a lot of heads going up and I'm going, oh, I call your attention. So far, we've only bought her shoes on Vinted. I think they're like second or third round shoes. And that's Cora, that's Kai, it's my dog. This is from yesterday. But we decided, okay, actually, for her second birthday, we should probably get her some new shoes. First time, new shoes. So my wife and I, we discuss it, we talk about it. It takes us about, I would say, an hour and a half to go online, read a couple of reviews. We end up buying this really sick pair of shoes that I will show you when they get unboxed, maybe next year. They got a unicorn on it. And this is mine and my wife's social feed for the past week after I bought the shoes. So clearly, I'm not in market for shoes anymore, right? And I get bombarded with ads about shoes, and they're all amazing. But I'm just a wasted impression. Like I'm a wasted, opportunity to engage with someone. Internally, we refer to this as like shadows. Like you're not a potential customer, you're a shadow of a potential customer, and the shadow will never convert. The reality is that this happens because we focus a lot of media budgets, and we work with a lot of D2C brands, and we realize that they do this like regularly on a small part of what's available in terms of digital inventory. We are expert in working with D2C brands that sell a lot of stuff on their beautiful websites and also on retailer websites. They start growing quite fast and then they hit the ceiling. And the ceiling, usually, they hit it because driving a customer acquisition across a walled garden that is becoming increasingly saturated is really, really difficult. And the reality check is that people spend the vast majority of their time outside of those walled gardens. So actually there is an enormous opportunity to engage with them outside of a social media feed when they're in doom scrolling mode, or even maybe when they're on Google looking for something because they've already made their mind up. So think about open web in terms of listening to a podcast, watching a show on your connected TV at home. Obviously, watching a show on your mobile apps, watching a video or reading the news on your mobile as you're commuting, right? Or even playing the games as you're commuting. So that is the part of the internet that up until now has been incredibly messy, I would say, incredibly difficult and complex to reach at scale and make measurable. And we are trying to revert that with all the D2C brands that work with Quantcast. Now, if I had to show you the time spent online, of course, is 70% on the open web, so all those publisher content that I just mentioned. What do you reckon the amount of money that goes into the open internet is? Would you say it's about 50% of your budget? About 40%? Who thinks they're spending about 30% of their budget to serve your advertising across the open web? The reality is that the vast majority, 72% of your advertising money is spent on the 30% of the time, bless you. Again, your customer acquisition costs will just plateau at some point, and driving that extra conversion will become incredibly difficult and incredibly expensive. Obviously, it's not all doom and gloom. We work with a variety of brands that have made successful steps into testing the open web. I'm going to start with the biggest one. ASOS is now a pretty consistent advertiser across the open web, and they've started small with about 10-20% of their digital budgets, moving away from social media where they were relying a lot to drive new customers. They saw an uplift pretty much immediately last year of about 10% in new customers just by running display, video, and connected TV alongside their social media and increase in organic website visits. Now, Simpro, for those amongst you that are in the market for probiotics, are one of those brands that up until maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, they were actually quite small. And a big part of their acquisition story in terms of customers and increase in sales and more recently valuation is the fact that they were quite bold in deciding to move away from the walled gardens in terms of advertising, and their ROAS skyrocketed and increasing sales by about 60%. And finally, again, back to the shoes that I should probably bought. I didn't buy Allbirds for Cora, my daughter. But Allbirds is a recent example of how a brand starts small with, again, like a minuscule part of their digital budget, but with a very clear strategy to reach new audiences that were previously inaccessible or reach audiences where their attention is higher. So this makes us ask a few questions when we talk to new brands, new D2C brands that want to work with us. And really the main one is what you should expect from a tech partner that you work with and what you should expect from a technology, including AI. And really it's two things. The first one is understanding audiences in real time. So again, back to my point initially, you don't want to have to chase shadows, but actually you want to target people as they're across their conversion window at the right time, in the right place. And just reduce waste. I mean, obviously, ideally, zero waste of your marketing budgets. We're actually pretty lucky right now because we have the opportunity to test a bunch of stuff that were not even available or that were not even being thought of about a year ago. And this is the AI bit of my presentation. Obviously, at Quantcast, we built predictive AI that is not just bolted on top of existing systems. We are a company that has invested in AI for about 15 years. But then more recently, we made that AI, which was all in the back end, available to you guys with agents that are now allowing you to do stuff like this. Go into a advertising platform that is smart, and it allows you to ask questions, surface insight, ask for recommendation. Why not? Maybe put those insights into a nice, good-looking graph that you can show to your team the next day or even live. And really ask for smart recommendation for where to invest your budget. This is called Agent Q. This is an example where I'm asking them to let me know about how my campaign is going, but obviously you can use this to explore the open web and explore audiences as they move across the open web. Obviously, that's what we give you guys access to and what you see in the platform. At the back, obviously, there is some really sophisticated audience modeling. And again, I want you to think about, move away from the idea of AI as an agent, but AI as an autonomous decision-making process, right? And smart lookalike modeling means that every single one of the actions on your website could be used to model off new customers. So your existing customers are a certain specific type of person with certain behaviors. They're interested in certain content online. Imagine if you could reach every single one of those people that have never heard of your brand and never been on your website, right? And that's lookalike modeling that obviously I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with. The difference between how we used to do it, or how a lot of companies used to do it in the past, and how you can do it today, is that you can rely on real-time data and data that is unique to you, and models that are unique to your customers, and not relying on stale third-party segments or standardized audiences that every single one of your competitors has access to as well. We have work a lot with Medicaid, beauty brand that, again, is on a growth trajectory. And this allows me to give you an example of another AI features that we have that we think is becoming, probably the most popular AI feature that we built at Quantcast. Medicaid ran a campaign with us last year, and their customer acquisition cost was amazing, and their ROAS was through the roof. And about a month after they launched the campaign, their media team came to us saying, we think something is wrong because we are serving a lot of our ad impressions on content, on CTV, on audio podcasts and stuff like that are talking about recipes and in general, they're not really focusing on beauty. They're more focusing on food and beverages. Well, it turns out that just a few hours into the campaign, something that we had never planned, Gwyneth Paltrow started talking about beef tallow. I don't know if there's any beef tallow users in the. I see a couple of nods. Are you? Oh, you look amazing. So this is just to give you an idea of how agentic AI can make smart, autonomous decision with your budgets that you can trust to be potentially leading to strategic insights, and not only that, but also better customer acquisition. So really think about this is called analysis by Q, and it's one of our agents, but think about using the AI to, again, improve the way that you spend your budget, always with zero wastage as an ideal objective. If you think about how we serve the web, and if you think about different media types and different moods that we're in, the 30% of the time, so walled gardens, people usually are either in a scrolling mode or doom scrolling mode. So it's becoming increasingly a more and more passive mode. So that's the social media mode. And then when they're in the search mode, they're usually in an intent mode, which means that they've already made their mind up, or they're about to make their mind up. Maybe they have like 2 or 3 brands in mind. We would like our customers to focus more and more on everything else, which is the exploration across the open web, right? And the explorer mode can take you from reading a review article or even just like news across the open web to like the smaller blogs, to listen to a podcast or watch TV when you're like in chill mode on your sofa. The opportunity is out there, and it's never been bigger because, of course, AI has also democratized this for everyone, right? And it's becoming a lot cheaper to access great tech. I'm going to leave you with some takeaways. The first one, again, as I said, is to try to start thinking more and more about real-time audiences as opposed to the audiences that you think you know. So don't read yesterday's newspaper and try to make a decision. Actually access in real time the data from your website and from current converters to model new ones. So start predicting behaviors of new customers, really. The second one is to really start testing. So dip your toes into the open internet if you haven't already. All the studies that we're running and all the performance tests that we're running show that the increase in customer acquisition and also the halo effect with your social media strategy and search strategy are always positive. And finally, remember that AI is out there to reduce complexity. So stuff that would have taken a big team and hours of optimization and also hours of setup even before you launch the campaign can now take minutes, and you can literally have the platform doing it for you. We're upstairs if you guys want to grab us for a chat. Otherwise, yeah, have a good rest of the day, and thank you very much for your attention.